Hello everyone, my name is Dwight Bellman II and I'm the sourcing specialist for the talent acquisition team for Mary Free Bed Rehabilitation Hospital. Welcome to Recruit You episode 2. We're happy to have you all here and we're looking forward to our recruitment panel from all the healthcare organizations within the greater Grand Rapids area. We're happy to have the following recruiters from the healthcare industry: Annette from Mercy Health, Juan from Spectrum Health, Steve from U of M Health West, Ariana from Cherry Health, and Courtney from Mary Free Bed Rehabilitation Hospital. And leading our discussion today is Derek from the Urban League of West Michigan.
So my name is Derek King. I'm with the Urban League of West Michigan, and I'll be the moderator for the second part of our 4-part series for Recruit You that we've partnered with Mary Free Bed for. So got a few questions here I want to ask you guys, and I'm going to start on the end here with Juan. So the question is, where is the best place to start looking for jobs?
Hey, Derek. Thank you for having us here, right, to start off with. But it really depends on what you're looking for, right? I think it's that personal journey of trying to find out, who do I want to work for, right? So an easy place to go is, if you have a company in mind that you really want to work for, is go to their website. If you go to their website, they'll have a whole career landing page. In our case, for Spectrum Health, we've got a really cool website where you can just start searching titles, right? And any job associated to that field will start appearing, right? So explore what's this job? What are the job descriptions? What is it that this job appeals to me, right? As I'm looking at these qualifications, what do I fit in well with? Another source is Indeed. Right, Indeed is just a great place to start, especially here in West Michigan, to see what roles are available in the area. So I would encourage people to use that tool. Tools like Indeed, Facebook will have many ads appear as well. And something, maybe recruiters don't like to talk about a lot, but Glassdoor, right, is a great tool to start getting a feel of, okay, what's this company like and what roles do they have? So it's a good way to explore. Right? It's really a journey of saying, what is out there, and let me see what their social media is like, let me see what their websites are like, what's their LinkedIn presence, and does this culture reflect what I want to work with?
Yeah, that sounds good. I think it's very important that having all those different resources to kind of choose from is important, so that you can kind of get a good variety of different jobs that are out there and positions and roles. So, well, thanks, Juan. So my next question is for Courtney. How can I set myself apart from other candidates?
Yes, thanks, Derek. That's a great question, because I think the idea is that we really do want to get the job. So that's the whole plan. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to see. So I think, and I'm sure others would agree with me, is doing your research, and not just on the company, but also the position. Yes. When I am talking to somebody and I ask them, what do you know about Mary Free Bed? And they tell me, we know you are a rehabilitation hospital. You've got inpatient, outpatient. Your vision is to help restore hope and freedom to people. Tell me more. I can already see that you have done enough research to know that you want to be here, and also that you see yourself in the organization. So just doing your simple research before talking to not only a hiring manager, but a recruiter, even somebody who you're just interested in, who might give a referral, do your research first, and it will go a long way.
That's good. That's good. Appreciate that. And I think that, when you think about that, the research prior to actually applying for a job or actually even getting an interview is huge, because you don't want to get in an interview and next thing you know nothing about the organization that you're applying for. So really, really important. So, well, thanks, Courtney. We're going to pass our next question and over here to Steve. The question is, are cover letters required or a thing of the past?
That's another great question, Derek, and I guess short answer is yes. In some situations, it may not be required. But there's other times to where, it can really be beneficial that if you do tailor that to the organization, to the position, and, really being able to expand outside of your resume and provide a little bit more information can be very beneficial for somebody that maybe they're looking to change careers or the types of positions that they're looking for, and being able to help explain that a little bit clearer.
Yeah, that's crucial. And I think that when you just look at the different positions you're looking to apply for. You know, sometimes I know I've seen people, they might make their cover letter a little bit too long because everything in the resume is what they put in the cover letter, so it's very important. So that's good. That's good. Really appreciate that, Steve. So and again, the short answer is yes, relevant. So, all right. So we're gonna have you pass that over to Annette there to the right, and the question here is, how long? Now, and I'm gonna go ahead and paraphrase this. How long should a person wait after applying to reach out to the employer?
Thank you for asking that.
Yeah.
That's a great question. I think that depends on what kind of a position you're applying for. If it's an entry level position, you might be one of 10 to 50 people that have applied. But in a professional position, you might be one of 5. But in general, I would say that probably after a week, it's very appropriate to reach out, thank them for their time, thank them for reading their email and asking for their status of the application, and tell them about your interest and why you're interested in the position. This is a great opportunity to introduce yourself to the person that's recruiting for that position, and tell them why you'd be a great fit for it. It doesn't have to be a long email, just a short, probably 1 or 2 paragraph, and a great way to introduce yourself and check on your status.
Yeah, good. Thank you for that, Annette. I'll pass it over to Ariana. So what would you say is the #1 mistake that you see candidates make?
Yeah, good question. And I have a running list, but I would have to say poor body language during an interview, and then also not accurately inputting your years of experience on your resume. When I go to present an offer, I take your years of experience from that resume and I put together a salary determination form for our compensation analyst, and they will give a number that I'll be able to present to the candidate. But I can count on many hands, candidates saying, I left off 5 to 10 years of experience. Well, that's going to cost you a lot of money.
Yeah. That's really good and really important. I think people want to think about that.
Yeah.
You know, when they put that, make everything line up and be in good order, so they don't miss out on, you know, an additional couple thousand in the salary. So, really good. All right, we're going to pass that back over to Juan. And again, question here says, you know, what should a person look at in terms of careers in healthcare?
Yeah, and healthcare is so unique, right? Because I'll share from my personal experience. My background is automotive engineering and business. And out of college, I became an interpreter, right? I kind of worked my way through college as an interpreter, and I fell in love with healthcare, right? Through that role. And it's kind of taken me on this unique journey, right? Where I stand now in talent acquisition. Every person can get that draw to healthcare, right? Sometimes we like to say, you know, we've got more toilets than anyone, right? At Spectrum Health here in West Michigan, and that means we need a lot of plumbers, right? And that's not a career that you generally associate with healthcare. We don't think of material coordinators, right? People working in warehouses and staffing, you know, our supplies within the hospital. And I think of, you know, when we look at all the jobs available to anyone, it's what's the purpose behind what you do? Right? Because we spend a great amount of time at our jobs. Well, why not have a job that serves the greater purpose, right? We're just coming out at the tail end of a pandemic who's just demonstrated the amount of empathy, right, and love that we need to show everyone in our community, right? So being in healthcare gives you that opportunity. Now, as you're looking at the career, it's taking you know, we've been hearing about our experiences, what we've learned. Well, how does that translate? Right? Because sometimes we do think of nursing, right? And there is a trajectory to that, but there's other abilities to do that, right? There's a lot of great partners in our community that are offering certificates, apprenticeships, that give us an opportunity to come and work in health, right? So I think if you're looking for an opportunity to say, what have I done and what do I want to do? Partner with us, right? Reach out, I think is the biggest question, because there's so many jobs, right? All our healthcare providers, it's like a living city within each one of them, and there's so many roles in healthcare that I think it just takes that step and that opportunity to say, hey, what's available based on what I have to offer?
Yes. That's a great answer. Thank you, Juan. I'm going to pass that over to Annette. And So, do recruiters look at social media and or LinkedIn?
I think that's a great question.
Yeah.
And I actually did a little Googling before, and it said that 80% of organizations do look at your social media before you go in for an interview or when you apply. I think each organization is different. In general, people don't reach out and look on your social media. I would say most of us recruiters don't do that. But at the same time, it's important to be thoughtful of the image you're portraying on any platform. So whether that's LinkedIn or any social sites. So it's always a good idea to take a quick once over and see what it would look like from somebody else's perspective if they were to look you up, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or even just Googling you to see what it looks like. So have a little time to do that and just be really thoughtful of what does that look like for a employer that you're interested in, and how would that portray that you would be intentional about coming to work and being fully present. So just a couple things to think about, but I think in general we would all say that we don't check social media, but it's also important to be thoughtful of what that looks like.
Yeah, that's huge. Branding and image, you know, who's representing you is very important, and it's key because you don't want to bring in somebody who gives you a really good, good interview, and then next thing you know, you see some negative things.
Absolutely.
About them.
And you bring up a great point that you are branding yourself, right? When you show up for that interview, you're fully there, the way you dress, the way you look, your body language, the way you interact with the interviewer. But that can happen even before that step, right? Even on your resume and your application and that first interview you have. So you want to be thoughtful of how you show up to that space.
Exactly. Really good answer. Thank you. Appreciate that. I was going to pass it to Steve. All right, Steve, no more short answers from you, buddy.
All right.
But what are some key things to look for on a resume?
Yeah, and I think that list, we could talk about it for a while.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
So,
but if we're thinking about it, maybe some keywords, some things. What are we looking for on a resume from a
so,
candidate?
and there's things like one, it might seem basic, but contact information and up-to-date contact information. Email, phone number, and I'm sure we've all had the experience where it had a resume, some contact information, and try to get a hold of the person and couldn't because it wasn't the right phone number. I have seen resumes to where there isn't contact information. So there's even don't know how to get a hold of the person. With employment, kind of touching on what Ari had said with that and looking at your employment and having that listed, accurately listing that month and year to month and year. Just thinking about what you're communicating to somebody that's reviewing their resume and what they can learn about you. So really being able to see all of your experience. And with that, sometimes people may think, well, I don't have, relevant experience to healthcare because I haven't worked in healthcare. Well, all experience is relevant. You have, if you had a job, you had to learn how to do something, and you had to be able to do it. You had to work with others, had to communicate, and critical thinking, and those are all transferable skills to any job and industry. With your education, if you took classes towards a degree, put that. Even if you didn't complete it, it just shows that further education. If you complete a degree, make sure that's communicated. If you've done any volunteering, worked on projects, community involvement, list those things. Just really being able to fully, communicate who you are professionally and what you've done.
That's good. Thank you. Appreciate that. And I think everything's all relevant. So we got to make sure we're staying on task with that. So, all right, we're gonna pass it over to Ari, and the next question is, should a person include letters of recommendation when applying for a position?
Yeah, as recruiters, I think we tend to focus on the candidate's resume more versus if they're attaching letters of rec. I do know certain employers do require letters of recommendation, so it really all depends on the organization. A unique way to make yourself stand out is to weave quotes from your letters of rec into that intro piece on your resume. I have seen candidates do that before, and it really kind of makes you stand out.
Okay. All right. Good. Appreciate that. Great answer, Ari. Let's pass that over to Courtney.
Thank you.
and she'll go ahead and bring us up with the last question here. And the last question is, should a person still apply for a job even if they don't have all the requirements or experience?
What a great question to close it up with, right? So there really is no short answer or really no right or wrong answer for this question. I think an important thing to consider when you're looking at a job that you are really interested in is to see, okay, maybe I don't have all the experience or requirements, but is there anywhere where it says preferred? Is there any preferred requirements versus required? Is there like a in lieu of, or you need a bachelor's degree or equivalent experience? Also a really good thing to kind of keep an eye out, because you could be qualified for the job and not know it. But if there is a job where you see that it doesn't have those things, but you're still really interested, also just consider what the position is for. Is it a clinical position? A lot of those times they've got a compliance issue that goes with it. So I can't have an RN working on the floor as an RN without a license. I just can't have that from a compliance standpoint. But if you're looking at maybe a clerical position, maybe it's an assistant position and it says an associate's, but maybe that's something that could have a little wiggle room. Maybe it's something that can change. I have seen that as well. So when in doubt, just apply, even if it shows that you're interested in it, but know and understand that that could be a reason you're not being moved forward, especially with those clinical positions, I would say.
That's good. And that's pretty much very important probably in healthcare, just because of, again, you've got to meet specific guidelines.
Yeah.
So,
Out of our
makes sense.
hands, out of our hands
Right,
things,
right,
but we
right.
do have to follow them.
Well, good. Well, good. Well, thank you for answering that question. And I want to thank you all, Juan, Ari, Nat, Steve, Courtney. We appreciate you all for coming out and spending some time with us and allowing us to kind of ask some questions to you. And I think this is going to be very beneficial and helpful to anyone that's interested in a career in healthcare. Grand Rapids is home to, we have the top hospitals and healthcare facilities probably in West Michigan. So we want to make sure that we are taking advantage of answering the questions the correct way. And we want to thank all of you who have watched and kind of logged on to all of our social media platforms to view how we're looking to help and give back to those in the community. So thank you for your time, and good luck to all of you on your interviewing in the future.
Wasn't that great, guys? Thank you all for tuning in to Recruit You, Episode 2 series. We look forward to seeing you all once again this summer for Recruit You, Episode 3 series. Thank you so much, and hope you guys have a great evening.